The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Prime Minister Davis defending his record on Cat Island. Public service raises will total $7 million. The minister says that their raises will begin this month. The government signs a $20.8 million contract for the Long Island runway. That kidney transplant a success. And 2 women arrested for fighting at a high school graduation. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, June 19th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Laverne Gardner is off today. Also this morning, we'll be talking with the University of the Bahamas about recruitment, especially in light of some changes in policies with universities in other countries. And later in business, as the debate on the budget prepares to move to the Senate, we are going to be talking with the Minister of National Security, Wayne Munroe, this morning. That's all ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, more than 2,000 mid-level civil servants will receive pay raises totaling an estimated $7 million beginning the end of this month. Minister of Labor and Public Service Pia Glover-Roll telling Parliament that the raises were beginning the end of June, and 400 mid-level public servants will receive increases as high as 8%. The raises were first announced by Prime Minister Davis earlier this month. Thousands more public servants below the mid-level will also receive pay increases in September. Prime Minister Philip Davis defending his record on Cat Island after F&M leader Michael Pintard said he did not ensure his constituents' basic needs were met after decades in the seat. During his contribution to the debate on the budget, Pintard said Bahamians cannot trust Davis with the future of the country because of his track record within his own constituency. In response, the Prime Minister said he was advocating for his constituents and that his dedication to them is evidenced by their loyalty, noting that Pintard failed to win his seat in 2012. He also noted that for many of his years representing the constituency, the F&M was in power. The government signing a $20.8 million contract with Bahamas Hot Mix for the renovation of the Deadman's Key Airport runway in Long Island as part of the Davis administration's Family Island Renaissance program. Construction of the brand new 6,000-foot asphalt runway will commence in July and run for 12 months. with Bahamas Hot Mix performing comprehensive airside improvements, earthworks, drainage, base works, electrical lighting, and signage, approaching lighting and fencing. Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs Clay Sweeting called the signing for Long Island's runway reconstruction and expansion more than a contract. He said it's a declaration of confidence in the people and the promise of the future for Long Island. The Criminal Investigation Department has launched an investigation into the death of a child. This was on Wednesday. According to police, officers received a distress call from the South Beach Clinic advising that a child was brought in unresponsive by his father. As a result, officers went to the clinic where their initial investigation revealed that the child sought medical attention and was being treated on Tuesday. The child was referred to Princess Margaret Hospital where he received treatment and was discharged, but on Wednesday the child's condition worsened and his father immediately took him to the clinic where he was pronounced dead by the doctor. Investigations into that matter continue. 2 women have been arrested for fighting at a high school graduation. Police investigating what led to a physical altercation between the women, ages 36 and 31, outside the graduation on Gladstone Road. Preliminary reports indicate that a verbal argument between the 2 women escalated into a physical fight. Officers on the scene conducting crowd control tried to intervene and cautioned and arrested both individuals. The women were taken into custody. A driver who killed 2 people when he crashed into their scooter while overtaking was sentenced to 2 years in prison, minus the 9 months he spent on remand. Mekanko Bethel learned his fate for causing the deaths of DeAndre Woodside and Rashawn Roll when he appeared before Justice Gregory Hilton. Bethel, who was on crutches, was taken into custody to begin serving the remainder of his sentence. He was also ordered to pay $10,000 each as compensation to the estates of the deceased by December 31st, 2027. However, the judge did not attach a penalty for non-payment. In February, Bethel pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter in relation to the deaths of Woodside and his passenger Roll. In Providence, he was allowed to remain on bail pending the sentence. Around 1:50 a.m. on October 16, 2023, Bethel was driving an unlicensed and uninsured car on East Street when he overtook a car and collided head-on with their scooter. A third passenger on the scooter was also injured, and she lost a limb as a result of the incident. However, Bethel did not face charges in relation to her. A man has been jailed to 25 years for murder he committed as a teenager. 29-year-old Andre Ferguson was just 17 years old when he gunned down Terrell Williams on July 6, 2013 in New Providence. According to an eyewitness, Williams was outside a home on Augusta Street when Ferguson shot him. Ferguson was unanimously convicted of murder. On September 13, 2024, defense lawyer Glendon Roll suggested a sentence of 5 years because Ferguson suffers from a chronic illness, type 2 diabetes, as well as the 11-year delay in bringing the case to trial. Roll suggested that prison officials were unable to provide adequate care for Ferguson's condition. By contrast, the prosecutor, Rashid Edgecombe, recommended a sentence in the range of 40 to 50 years. In his decision, Justice Gregory Hilton said that Ferguson was entitled to a degree of mercy, having regard to his age at the time of the offense, the unreasonable delay in bringing the case to trial, and his medical condition. Hilton noted that Ferguson was not convicted of other crimes while on bail, nor did he breach any rules at the prison while awaiting sentence. The judge found that this indicates that, quote, he is a good candidate for rehabilitation and does not pose a danger to society. The sentence will take effect from the date of conviction. And a man accused of plotting and carrying out a double shooting that killed 1 man and injured another in Harbor Island was charged in court this week. 23-year-old Junior Norville of Harbor Island faces charges of murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder and attempted murder. Prosecutors allege that while concerned with others, Norville murdered Cameron Bannister and attempted to murder Cassius Turnquest on June 10th. He's also accused of planning the crimes on the same date. According to police, the men were in a golf cart when a gunman shot them Norville was not required to enter a plea to the charges. When he appeared before Chief Magistrate Roberto Reckley, he was denied bail and advised of his right to seek bail in the Supreme Court. The matter has been adjourned to August 21st for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. And a father successfully donated his kidney to his son during a procedure at Princess Margaret Hospital. Lead surgeons and clinicians, Dr. Rhea Thurston Carroll and Dr. Vantario Taylor, said the patients are doing well and that the surgery was successful yesterday. Surgery marked an historic milestone for the country and the country's public sector. The age and identity of the father and son will remain anonymous until doctors declare that both patients are fit to leave the hospital. Overseas, Israel's defense minister overtly threatening Iran's supreme leader today after the latest missile barrage from Iran damaged a major hospital and hit a high-rise and several other residential buildings near Tel Aviv. At least 40 people were wounded in the attacks, according to Israel's Magen David Adom Rescue Service. Black smoke rose from the hospital in the southern city of Beersheba as emergency teams evacuated patients. There were no serious injuries in the strike on the hospital. In the aftermath of the strikes, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz blaming Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and said the military, quote, has been instructed and knows that in order to achieve all its goals, this man absolutely should not continue to exist. U.S. officials said this week that U.S. President Donald Trump had vetoed an Israeli plan to kill Khamenei. Trump later said there were no plans to kill him, quote, at least for now. Israel, meanwhile, carried out strikes on Iran's Arak heavy water reactor in its latest attack on the country's sprawling nuclear program. On the seventh day of a conflict that began with a surprise wave of Israeli airstrikes targeting military sites, senior officers, and nuclear scientists. Southern Mexico's Pacific Coast bracing for a Thursday morning impact with the approach of Hurricane Eric, which was upgraded to an extremely dangerous Category 4 by the U.S. National Hurricane Center. The major storm threatens to unleash destructive winds near where the eye crashes ashore, flash floods, and dangerous storm surge. Eric was about 70 miles west-southwest of Puerto Angel in Mexico and about 90 miles southeast of Punta Maldonado. The storm has maximum sustained winds of 145 miles per hour and was moving northwest at 9 miles per hour. Late Wednesday, Eric's projected path crept south, closer to the resort city of Puerto Escondido, and centered on a sparsely populated stretch of coastline near Acapulco to the northwest. Again, this is a Pacific hurricane, not the Atlantic hurricanes. And a SpaceX rocket being tested in Texas exploded Wednesday night, sending a dramatic fireball high into the sky. The company said the Starship experienced a major anomaly at around 11 p.m. while on the test stand preparing for the 10th flight test at Starbase, SpaceX's launch site in the southern Texas. SpaceX saying in a statement on the social platform X, formerly Twitter, quote, a safety clear area around the site was maintained throughout the operation and all personnel are safe and accounted for. CEO Elon Musk says that there were no hazards to nearby communities. It asked people not to try to approach the site, SpaceX. The company says it's working with local officials to respond to the explosion. sports, after 30 scoreless innings, Bahamian professional baseball player Jazz Chisholm Jr. giving the New York Yankees a jolt with a solo home run. Unfortunately, the Yankees still lost, falling 3-2 to the Los Angeles Angels at Yankee Stadium Wednesday in the Bronx. Chisholm broke a 3-game, 30-inning scoreless streak for the Yankees. From the WNBA, after being sidelined for more than a week with a right ankle injury, Grand Bahamian Jonquel J.J. Jones, the starting center for the New York Liberty in the WNBA, returned to action Tuesday night. Jones helped spark the Liberty past the Atlanta Dream. They scored an 86-81 comeback victory. Jones delivered a steady performance in her return, finishing with 10 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in 25 minutes of action. She finished 4 for 10 from the field. And the Bahamas' national cricket team suffering its third consecutive loss at the 2025 International Cricket Council Men's T20 World Cup America's regional final going on in Ontario, Canada. While Canada secured its third straight victory of the qualifiers, Team Bahamas fell by 10 wickets with 39 balls remaining, suffering its third straight loss. The Bahamas posted a total of 52 runs for the loss of 7 wickets in 11 overs. In response, Canada reached the target of 53 runs in just 4.3 overs out of the allocated 11, with the match ending under the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method due to rainfall. The host team recorded 54 runs without losing a single wicket. From the NBA, the Buss family has agreed to sell the controlling stake in the Los Angeles Lakers to TWG Global CEO Mark Walter, doing so with a franchise valuation of $10 billion, the highest ever for a professional sports franchise. As part of the deal, Jeannie Buss, whose family has had control of the Lakers since her father bought the team in 1979, intends to remain as team governor, according to a person who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because neither side immediately announced the details. It's not clear how much more of the Lakers that Walter is acquiring. He was part of the group that bought 27% back in 2021. Jeannie Buss will still own at least 15% of the Lakers once the transaction is completed. By NBA rule, a governor must have at least that much of an ownership stake. Walter and TWG Global already had the controlling interest in the Los Angeles Dodgers, Premier League club Chelsea, the Professional Women's Hockey League, and through TWG Motorsports owns several auto racing teams, including Cadillac Formula One. That's sports, brought to you by Click, inviting you to pop the top. Time for your first look at weather. Your weather for today brought to you by Star General Insurance. We've got an expansive ridge of high pressure over the area that continues to dominate weather across the country, as a mid to upper level disturbance near the southern Bahamas helps to enhance shower activity, but mainly for the southeastern islands. Everyone's being advised to remain hydrated, wear loose-fitting clothing and sunscreen while outdoors, and to take frequent breaks in the shade, as UV indices are expected to be in the very high range again today. Heat indices expected to reach the upper 90s, the triple digits even, and beachgoers and swimmers should be alert for rip currents along Atlantic exposures in the southeast Bahamas. Your forecast for today: for most areas, partly to mostly sunny, becoming fair tonight. A 10 to 20% chance of showers. Winds east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots. For the southeast Bahamas, though, a mix of sun and clouds, becoming fair tonight. A 20% chance of showers and isolated thunderstorms. Winds east to southeast at 15 to 20 knots. And temperature-wise, across the country, we're looking at highs around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index could make it feel as hot as 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and a look at the tropics coming up in a bit. This weather check brought to you by Star General, insurance made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
It is time for a break, but when we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day, Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, there the Athlete's Foot and BTC, Games and More, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clarkson Island Luck, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
You work hard, you do your best, but sometimes a little extra support can make all the difference. At Fidelity, we offer personal loans to help with whatever financial challenges life brings. We offer quick, hassle-free, stress-free loans ready whenever you need it. Inquire and make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, new day.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9, streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at Morning Blend 969 or text us 422-4796 on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC, 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. We're told we're back up with Flow TV. So that's great news there. Dwight Strong with you on this Thursday morning. Unfortunately, Laverne Gardner's under the weather, won't be joining us today. Wishing her a speedy recovery. So it'll just be us today. We're also going to be talking with the University of the Bahamas about enrollment. They are appealing to folks who might have been trying to go to some other places that are making it very difficult for international students to reconsider university right here in the Bahamas. So we're going to talk with them about that. Deadlines are approaching, though, so you want to keep that in mind. Later in business, we're talking with the Minister of National Security, Wayne Munroe, as the budget debate is winding down in the House, heading to the Senate now. Got to pass that before the start of the fiscal year, July 1st, which is very fast approaching. It's crazy. Month is almost done. So that's all ahead. But right now, let's get into what else is in the news. And in the news, some good news. The kidney transplant that we told you about on the show on Monday, the surgery was yesterday, and it seems to be a success so far. This is the first as part of the new renal transplant program here. And so a father successfully donated his kidney to his son during that procedure at Princess Margaret Hospital yesterday. So the details are in the paper. We're not going to know who they are just yet until everything is clear that they're going to make a full recovery. But we do hope we get to meet them. That'll be wonderful at some point in the future. So that's great news there. Praying for everybody there. And just thanks to all the wonderful doctors involved in that. All right, so there's a lot in the news to talk about, including this fight at a graduation yesterday. We're going to get into that in a bit. But also, we've been asking about this quite a bit. Why haven't we heard anything about the International Bazaar and the Royal Oasis? You remember a few months back, the government said they were going to purchase this, but we hadn't heard anything for a while. But apparently, the Minister for Grand Bahama talked about it this week in the House. So this is coming from the Tribune. Grand Bahama Minister Ginger Moxie said the government had reached an agreement with the Grand Bahama Port Authority to settle the $1 million in outstanding maintenance fees owed by owners of the International Bazaar, paving the way for its long-anticipated sale and redevelopment. The deal clears a hurdle for the proposed Afro-Caribbean Marketplace, a project aimed at revitalizing the derelict bazaar area. In March, Moxie publicly accused the Grand Bahama Port Authority of stalling the purchase. At the time, Grand Bahama Port Authority President Ian Roll said the owners still owed significant fees and that the government had not yet presented a business or financial plan for the initiative. Well, in the House of Assembly on Tuesday, Moxie disclosed that the Attorney General's office is in the final stages of acquiring the International Bazaar from 13 separate property owners. The acquisition will also include the long-vacant Royal Oasis Tower and Casino. She said, quote, an agreement has also been reached with the Grand Bahama Port Authority on outstanding accounts receivables of the bazaar owners in order to move the project forward. She said the 13 owners collectively owed $1.5 million in fees dating back to 2006. Meanwhile, the Afro-Caribbean Marketplace and Logistics Center will feature exhibition pavilions for 54 African nations, 20 Caribbean countries, and all 16 Bahamian islands. 16 inhabited, we assume. Yes, okay. The initiative gained traction last June during the 31st Afro-Exim AGM in New Providence, where the government signed a $1.8 million project preparation facility agreement with Afro-Exim Bank to support the venture. The project is also included in the 2024-2025 national budget. Moxie added that with nearby West Sunrise Highway, which borders the bazaar and Royal Oasis, it's expected to reopen soon. And the Ministry of Works is finalizing contract documents and design drawings for the road's rehabilitation. She said the initial clearing of the area around the artificial lagoon was completed. Initial land surveying in the area and road works completed. Utility companies are already engaged and have identified active utilities in the proposed area. She says the next steps include the signed construction drawings pending the final geotechnical report and finalizing the bidding process, followed by awarding the contract and beginning construction. The project is slated to commence by the end of July. All right, so that's interesting stuff there. Let's get your reaction to it. We've been wondering what was going on, and so I have a clearer picture now. But 323-6232. Wish Laverne were here. That would have been good to get her Grand Bahamian perspective on that. 325-4316. 325-4259. Toll free 242-300-5720. You can tweet us, you can Facebook us, you can text us 422-4796. So I did not get to hear Ginger Moxie's address, and I have not heard anybody else talk about it. I don't know if she did, but I know a lot of people are going to be wondering what is going on with the airport in Grand Bahama, right? So that remains a mystery. Not sure. It is functioning. So people in New Providence, I hear the way some people talk, they act like nothing is happening. But they do have an airport. It's just not up to the standard you'd expect. But things were not supposed to be like that. And what is the delay? What is really going on? So we don't know about that one. But this is interesting to hear what's moving forward with the bazaar. Let's hear from you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. Are you there? Okay, call us back, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Again, toll free, 242-300-5720. All right, here we go. Good morning again. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight. What's happening?
Hi, right here.
Yeah, I'm calling from Grand Bahama. The minister said that the Ministry of Works is preparing drawings or preparing something to open the road in the International Bazaar.
Uh-huh.
First of all, the Ministry of Works has no jurisdiction in Freeport proper. Maybe in West or East Grand Bahama, but in Freeport proper, the Ministry of Works can't approve or can't design nothing. That is always being done under the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement by the technical department in the in the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where she is getting that from, that the Ministry of Work. No, that don't happen in Grand Bahama. So I just wanted to clear that up.
So normally what happens?
Normally, if you want to do a project or you want to build a house, you would take your drawings to the technical department in the Grand Bahama Port Authority. They would do all the necessary approvals. They would issue a work permit, and then you would commence construction. The only time you would have to go to the Ministry of Works if you building or you doing something in East End proper or West End proper.
Mm-hmm.
And the International Bazaar is located in Freeport proper. So, again, that's why I'm saying that the Ministry of Works have no jurisdiction in Freeport proper. They just don't. Mm-hmm. They don't approve nothing, they don't draw nothing, and they don't sign off on nothing. All that comes from the technical department in the Grand Bahama Port Authority. They're the one who issues the work permit and approve all the drawings.
Mm-hmm. So if they're buying it and they want their people to do it, is it a big deal?
Well, it has to. Once it's in Freeport proper, it has to go through the Port Authority.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is.
Well, maybe it is going through. I don't know. Maybe it is, but they're going to handle it. That's not possible?
No, not possible at all. Not possible.
Okay.
You cannot go to the Ministry of Works in Freeport proper, just like you can't get a business license to operate in Freeport proper.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get a Port Authority license.
Okay.
You could get a business license to operate in East Grand Bahama or West Grand Bahama, but not Freeport proper.
I hear you. This makes you happy with that setup, the way it is, or I mean?
Yes, I am.
Yeah,
because
okay.
It brings structure and order in the area. Compare Nassau to Freeport. Freeport is set up with structure because of the Port Authority.
So if the Port Authority says it's okay, let them do that. That'll be fine.
Well, again, it has to get approval from them. Now, maybe the government could work with the Port Authority or work with technicals to get it done. But again, they can't go to the Ministry of Works because the Ministry of Works has no jurisdiction under the Hawksbill Creek Agreement to approve nothing in Freeport proper.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how long has it been sitting there with nothing happening? 20 years? How long has it been?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe they're like, yeah, whatever, do it, as long as something's happening.
It don't work like that.
Oh, okay.
Once you understand Freeport, the model in Freeport, you will understand how it works. And it don't work like that.
Well, to outside...
I mean, no matter how long it's been sitting there, we had properties been sitting there longer than the bazaar. We had Casa Bahama been sitting there for years. So that's not the
I
only
think you're
thing
making a
that's
very
wrong
good
with
case for
Bahama.
things to change. You're making a very good case. But I hear you. Got to follow the rules.
I think I've been continuing to
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm not saying the central government needs to be making decisions, but that sounds a little crazy. No wonder. But anyway, let's get another perspective on it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning. You're on. Are you there? Let's take that other one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Dwight, how you doing?
Doing well.
Yes, the caller is somewhat correct, but let me just give you the variation. The what do you call them? The Ministry of Works, they have their architects and engineers. After they finish drawing up their plans, they would take it to the Grand Bahama Port Authority Building Department, and they would then approve whether it meets the requirements for execution, and then the government would put it out to tender.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah, and so right. So, but the maybe the message, I didn't hear all of Minister Moxie's message, because I fell asleep doing it. It was a good lullaby.
Because you were tired?
No.
Oh, okay.
I had just gotten up and 2 cups of coffee.
You need to stop. Okay.
but the hurdle was not the issue, because the hurdle was only for the bazaar. And in fact, if you go back to some previous communications made by Minister Moxie, and coming out of the individuals like the hotel union, and was it the hotel union, or was it whoever owned the property, was that they even said that even when the government was making an announcement, that no one had spoken to them yet, from the hotel union, and even though and this was like well into making the announcement, 6 months, whatever, had yet spoken to the owners. And so, yes, it's not a hidden thing that some fees was owed, and et cetera. And so it would have been nice to find out when you say the government has reached an agreement, that's an agreement to waive the fees, that's an agreement for government to pay the fees, that was an agreement for the owners to pay the fees.
Yeah.
What exactly is this agreement?
Mm-hmm.
And we have not seen any details as to the execution of exactly the impact the supposedly Caribbean marketplace would have, because a lot of people in Grand Bahama is questioning how this is going to work in regards to integration into the community, or how Bahamians can actually tap into it. So are we to sell African wares and stuff from this particular thing, or to promote African focused environment? This Afro-Caribbean type place, where the Bahamian arts and craft, the orange economy, fits into all of this. And so it's all
it says African, Caribbean, and Bahamian, right? So I guess some
it's just
mini
the
Epcot.
African Caribbean. I guess they assume we are part of it, but again,
No, it says the 16 islands will be represented. 16.
Yeah, but do you know the size of Africa and nations? Do you know the size of the Caribbean? Do you know the size of the Bahamas to the 16 islands? And do you know the size of the bazaar?
All right, so this is the question I have. So do we know what's going to be happening with the former Royal Oasis? So what would they do with that? Is that going to be incorporated into this?
The Royal Oasis is split into 2 parts. This is just the tower, the hotel part that sits on what we consider the northern side of the highway.
Mm-hmm.
But the Royal Oasis itself is 427 acres.
Yeah.
And so this is probably, 5, maybe 10 acres totally of the total 427 acres that will happen. The rest of that will remain an abandoned, derelict building facing absolutely, I'll send you a air shot of it, facing this supposedly development. And so,
well, maybe it'll spark some interest in it, and that will revitalize the whole area.
But this is why we need, and you've heard me say that over and over again, we need more than just an interest in that particular. What we need is a master plan for Grand Bahama, because the Royal Oasis has become symbolic of the whole plight of Grand Bahama. If you take the time to look at all of the buildings on Grand Bahama, since the FNM in 1997, maybe 1 or 2 buildings above 2 floors has went up. And all of the buildings on Grand Bahama is 50 years old, or 30, 40, 50 years old. That's basically facing end of life, and for them to be rehab and refurbished. And so what we have is 24 years of a dying city that you just can't come and put top paint over it. So the question then becomes, what is the strategy for the economic revival of Grand Bahama? And, we hear people talking. I look in the same newspaper, I see this thing with AI, and I did listen to the Minister of Technology, Vincent Grandstadt, and I wish I could say the F word, but the guy's a Frankenstein when it comes to technology. So this whole concept of an AI competitive nature, we have problems just with the plain old digitization of the country, talking about creating a digital destination in Freeport. And this is the problem what we have to do. We have to stop, let me just not keep this long. Right? Remember, we keep saying from 2002, every prime minister or prime minister aspirant said, there will be no economic development of the Bahamas unless Grand Bahama plays front and center role.
Sure.
Well, here we are, almost 25 years later. And that was 1 year after the 21st century began. And here we are in the second 25, in less than 6 months, or just about 6 months, we'll be in the second 25 years of the 21st century. And we're still struggling with rudimentary concept of digitization, but talking about we're going to make destination like Silicon Valley and all of these different things. If you hear the Minister for Technology, he celebrates, listen to Dwight, he celebrates that civil servants will be able to use email.
No, I'm sure you're misconstruing that. But
no.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, E must stand for something else. E stands for something else.
Intra-government and whatever else of these different things. These are, I'm sure you in The Guardian, you all talk to each other through your intra-communication, emails and stuff. These are things that you could buy off-the-shelf software. And so until we actually get plans, and this is important, right? When you have policies and strategies that you're going to implement, you can't tell people, prepare yourself, and they have nothing except your verbal communication. Yeah. Where's the written strategies for executing this and participation for planning going forward?
Okay.
What are the people actually planning for? And so this is why we keep having the linguistic contortionism, where they keep slightly changing the stories over a period of time, but nothing changes. And next thing you know, 5 years have passed.
Yeah.
We are on the 1st of January. We will begin the second 25 years where technology is going to revolutionize and change the world. And this AI and all these other things we talk about. But here we need our leaders, if you're serious for this particular for this administration, because they have the ball, give us the information. So not just a select few, but the entire Bahamas can prepare and participate. And these people around the world.
Well, again, I think you and I have said it before. I think we need to give it to them. We need to give it to them. This is the plan.
Right?
And that's for every island, not just Grand Bahama needs all of us need to do that, because they won't come up with it. They won't.
The best place for this to start, Dwight, is municipal governance, as promised.
Yeah. But again, they don't want to do it. So we have to tell them, this is what you're going to do. This is what you need, and give them a timeline.
If you listen to Mr. Michael Pintat, he has all but said that would be the expectation.
All of them have said that. I'm still not buying it. We need more than that.
But Dwight, this is what I'm saying to you. You and I have been arguing for this. This is where we need to start demanding. You remember what I said? Tell us how. Not what you're going to do, because you could tell us, you know what I can tell you? I'm going to win the lottery, but I don't have to tell you how.
Yeah.
Tell me exactly how you're going to do
it.
And this is when we begin to ask, how are we going to do this, and how will it work in relations to the country as a whole? And when you begin to understand this integration, then we can begin to take them serious. But saying,
Right.
oh, we can have an AI jurisdiction, we can have digital Grand Bahama, all these, or an orange economy, all these different things, and no one can show you a single blueprint, a single how, then guess what? It's only conversation.
Thanks a lot, CM. We got a lot of calls coming in. Appreciate it. But yeah, we cannot continue to wait for them. We have to give them the plan and the timeline. This is what we're going to do, and this is when we want it. You need to make it happen. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Yeah, Dwight. I'm seeing Alan's remind me why I can't vote for the PLP or the FNM again. Because these the status quo, the system would run by the status quo. It's unbelievable in this country. Because the conversation would be continued to have back and forth with these antiquated leaders would keep demonstrating that y'all are brilliant ideas, y'all are brilliant suggestions.
You're breaking up. Well, I don't know if they do have brilliant ideas. You think they do?
No, I'm saying we.
Oh, okay.
Yo, calling these shows and suggesting these ideas to human people are brilliant ideas, but the leaders are not interested, right? Because it ain't rocket science for our leaders them to come to the grips to understand that, what these people them saying out there, right? Most of the times it makes sense and it could benefit the generations or masses of behemoths in the future. But that ain't their concern, right? What's that? So it's up to us, behemoth people, to start showing them that, we have more desire to grow this country than you guys have. And we're not going to sit back and allow you all just to determine that we supposed to do just nothing. Just sit here and just wait.
Right.
Whatever we
Well, I mean, people say it all the time, we are their employer. So this is what you do on a job. Your employer gives you some mandates. This is what I need you to do. Make it happen. That's how we need to change this transaction that we're doing. Not the way that, right?
Right. You ever seen an employer what didn't know he had people employed?
Well, that's a brainwashing. It's something else. That's called something else, right? We are electing people to enslave us and to tell us what to do. There's something else. So until we change that mentality, hey, you're my worker. I need this done. Why does this road look like this? Why does this whole stretch of this city? Why is it abandoned?
And then the worker come and tell you, go sit down. When I get ready to fix that road, right, I can fix that road.
And stand up when I walk in the room. Anyway, thanks a lot. All right. We'll take one more call. I want to move on to some other stories making news today. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and if you have a guest.
Just me today. Hi.
Okay. Dwight, what I see is to be so amazing this morning. Both gentlemen I called earlier were from Freeport, right? I mean, come on, man. If you want to be negative towards something that's going to benefit you if it comes to fruition, my God, I could quite clearly say the majority of behemoths that live in Freeport is not thinking the way that they are thinking. Okay?
I think it's positive. I think the problem is a lot of people have been here before. There've been so many things that this is coming, this is going to happen, and it never comes to fruition, like you said. And I think that's caused a lot of people to be very jaded and negative.
Yeah. But look at it this way. Let's be realistic. The F&M controlled Grand Bahama for the last 20 or to 25 years, okay, as far as being the government. And, I mean, if nothing has really truly been done except for Hutchison, Whampoa, and one or two other things, nothing else has been done, but nobody's knocking that. But this,
I think a lot of people are.
The gentleman said that he didn't listen to his minister because he was tired. But he
didn't say that. He said she put him to sleep.
Yeah, she put him to sleep because he didn't really hear what she had to say. At least listen to hear what they got to say. Then you could make your contribution after you hear exactly what they say, right or wrong, Dwight.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. You'd think. You'd think.
Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we'll see. We're going to keep you posted on this. I think it's exciting. Anything that could happen to the bazaar and the Royal Oasis property is something that needs to be watched closely. It's sad what has happened there. Very, very all of the Freeport Mackay area, all of Grand Bahama. It's just been disaster after disaster. So hopefully this will be the turning point. This and what's happening with Grand Lucaya, right? Desperately needed. All right, so some crazy stuff is happening. Well, what was that yesterday with the graduation? We were told that C.R. Walker was at Loyola Hall on Glasson Road. I don't think I've ever seen anything ever in my entire life. People in caps and gowns brawling, and parents involved too. This is like one of the most disgraceful things ever. So the police got involved, and you heard this earlier, but they've arrested 2 women. I don't know who they are. They might be parents, but 2 women were arrested, and investigations continue into this. Really disturbing videos. Boys fighting girls, girls fighting girls, boys fighting boys, parents fighting everybody. What was that? Police have launched an investigation into a physical altercation between 2 women, ages 36 and 31, but they weren't the only ones fighting. Outside the school's graduation ceremony on Glaston Road. Preliminary reports indicate that a verbal argument between the 2 women escalated into a physical fight. Police on the scene, conducting crowd control, acted swiftly to intervene. Okay, what is swiftly to the police force? Okay. Anyway, they intervened eventually, cautioning and arresting both individuals. The women, ages 36 and 31 again, were taken into custody, and investigations are ongoing. But let's talk about it. Just the look, the perception that you would think of all the people in the world to act sensibly would be people graduating in caps and gowns to start brawling. All the caps were on the ground. Did you see that? And it looked like a Harry Potter convention with all the black stuff blowing in the wind during the brawling. And like, what is happening in our country? Wow, let's talk. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259, toll free 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Just really insane stuff. Good morning, caller. What say you on it?
Good morning. I shall say, but permit me to say good morning to Laverne.
Yes.
And I need to advise her. You see, what I do, before I go to Freeport, I get vaccinated. Right?
Don't do this. Don't do this.
I'll stop.
You need to stop.
I stop right there.
My God.
Yeah, but Dwight, you think because we are dressed up in a robe and the sun is hot, dehydrated, that's going to cause us to behave a certain way with civility? You think because we put on a certain clothing, no, you see, if you squeeze an orange, you get an orange juice. And you'd be surprised to know how many people are walking about squeezed right now, and the kind of juice that's coming out of them is not what we want. We want people to behave with civility, right? I mean, don't be disconnected from what is civil and what is proper, particularly if you're going out. You know what I mean? Come on, man. When you go out, you dress up. But we go out to fight. Right.
That's really disturbing. Man.
Yeah. When you really look at the picture of it, the money that you spend to get your daughter or son's clothing, the whole 9 yards, the money you spent on the education. This should be, I attended one, Dwight, just the same day. And what is so sad about these places where you go, the audience take over with whistles and horns and drums, and you don't get to hear what the person is saying.
Yeah.
So you see,
and even when they tell them don't do that until afterwards, it just often
right.
Nobody listens.
You see this thing that's in us. It's something we need to identify, and perhaps come up with a vaccine. Eh?
See, you're always doing this. You always come.
Stop.
You really do. Wow. Thanks a lot. Something has to be done. It may be drastic. It may have to be drastic. That is completely unacceptable. And as you notice, the police are there, and people aren't stopping. More fights start when the police show up. It's like, okay, now it's my time to act the fool. we've been seeing that trend for quite a while, and it's definitely getting worse. Caller, what say you on it?
Good morning. I'm saddened by what happened, and I would like to share the blame as an educator. I think as a part of the society. You know, in insurance, you have what is called group policy insurance, and we spread the blame or we spread the cost. And so society has lost a lot of values, and sometimes we work only for the paycheck. And so it's very sad that on a nice day, a graduation day, not only a graduation day of seniors. These are people who are not, if they're not yet adults, they're about to be adults. And then parents also involved and so on. So it's very sad. But collectively, as a society, we need to perhaps do more volunteer work and also they have to mentor and assist with the parenting and the upbringing of the children, teach more than just the academics.
Yeah. Well, then that's going to have to be mandated, right? Because, folks aren't just going to volunteer to do that. You're going to have to make them do that.
No, I'm not. I'm not just talking about the persons who are in need of it.
No, I mean everybody. That's going to have to be required.
Get back of our time.
Yeah.
Yeah. To bring the society back up.
Everybody.
Yes, sir.
I hear you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We need more of those type solutions. What do you suggest? Let's get back to your text messages. You can text us 422-4796. This text just says here, when you look at it, were those parents who were fighting were parents or students who actually graduated or left with leaving certificates? I don't know. But they were there attending the ceremony in their caps and gowns. And there were older people. We assume they were parents or family members of the folks graduating. In any event, this is not the type of behavior you'd want to see anywhere, but especially at a high school graduation. That's crazy, crazy, crazy. This person says here, what was the reason for the crowd control officers? I witnessed the officers driving the parking lot and thought they probably were part of the ceremony. I don't know. I mean, they're not usually at things, or maybe they were. I don't know. That you think there was something? They were anticipating something? Concerning the fight, I feel that the young girls and older women should conduct themselves in a better manner. The act of being a lady has been lost in society, shameful. What about the men? What do you mean? Young men and older men should also conduct themselves in a better manner. Everybody. This is not a gender thing. It's everyone. There were men and women fighting. Only 2 women apparently got arrested. But that was a massive brawl. We saw a video of a boy fighting a girl. I don't even know what that was about. Anyway, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning to you, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
This is my very first time calling your show.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I feel as if, with respect to the overall behavior of persons in our community, you need to emphasize manners, respect, dignity, pride, common sense, and compassion. And I think, to a great extent, our parliamentarians need to emphasize that at that level during debates in Parliament. And of course, as a former school teacher, school principal, and now I do what I do, speaking to the public at all times during the course of my work, I emphasize that. And those virtues of manners and compassion, common sense, has been lost from our society. I take that back. I should say it's vastly deteriorating, moving on.
Right.
But, we need to emphasize those qualities more in our society. And when we begin to do that, even from, again, I go back to Parliament, parliamentarians, the way they conduct themselves, the way teachers conduct themselves, the way the whole society, wherever we are speaking publicly, we should, at all times, continue to talk about manners and respect. Because when that go out of the window, then we have what we had at that school graduation.
Yeah.
Indeed. I want to thank you very much for having my call.
Thank you for calling. Hopefully it won't be your last time. Hopefully you'll call back. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, totally agree. The people who were held up in the highest esteem in this country and many parts of the world are the people who behave the worst, right? Again, these reality shows, oh my goodness, every week, just unspeakable stuff is said, done. Every week, fight, physical altercation. It's crazy, and I suspect a lot of people think this is cool. This is how you do it, and record this so it can go viral, and I can get lots of views and likes. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
Good morning, Bama. Dwight, that fight yesterday, I know one of the young ladies, she still votes up. But sometimes she makes some good points, right? But see, that's why I try to tell people don't get personal and don't get any people personal business. But the person who was there told me, said that one of the lady hit her face, hit Kitty face. And she being there at the graduation with her family members. And this is what I be trying to say, man. We people be one people. We need to stop foolishness. And like the former teacher said a while ago, they get started with the politicians, the senior civil servants, the police officers, know how to talk to Bimmy people. We all be, but everybody have a tolerant level. I mean, to stop, man, because at the end of the day, we all Bahamas, we love our country. The Bimmy people, please, man, let's get together. Don't worry about these lying politicians. They can promise you all, and they still can give you nothing. And thanks for taking my call.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's read these messages as we get ready to go to a break. While the majority of us were poor back then, our parents had class, morals, and values that they instilled in us. Not so today. Wow. This person says here, that fight came about as, I don't understand what the rest is that you're saying. But anyway, rowing. Okay, women rowing. I totally agree with that caller who said that our leaders need to set an example. Do you remember a certain minister, foreign affairs, and they would pork another MP in his head? Yeah, the language, as it calls it, the language has changed, but didn't actually do it, which is the challenge today that once somebody says that, it's going to happen, right? But I agree with you that that type of language is not necessary at all. This texter says here, officers are almost always present at these graduation ceremonies. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. To enforce order. There are a lot of family and supporters who attend and are completely defiant of instructions given by the administrators and graduation committee in regards to seating, in regards to noise control, horns and balloons. Every year it's an issue, and schools resort to simply allowing the police to deal with the crowd. This is also why it's necessary to allow those who have earned their diploma, only allow those who earned their diploma to attend graduation. You will see a stark difference in behavior. I hear you there. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. One more call. Yeah, let's do this quickly. Caller, you only have about 30 seconds, unfortunately. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Strachan.
Hi.
I am also a retired teacher, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is happening and has happened is that a lot of people do not even understand what it is that they're involved with in regards to graduations. They see it as something else than what it ought to be.
Wow.
It's a time for reflection and also achievement, and that should be highlighted and celebrated. But I think it's just, some people see it as just dress up, and so you take your grievances with you when you go to the place because you don't understand. And like you said, there's no example for these young folks to follow.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very sad. Wow. What do you think we can do to change this? What do you think we need to do?
Mr. Strachan, I have always said this from years gone by. I feel that there needs to be workshops, forums involving parents, where you educate them what is expected of them and the real reason behind getting an education, so that I think a lot of parents don't even understand what education is.
Mm-hmm.
And they see hairdos, dress up, so you take your ball with you because they don't understand what it is that they're doing.
Indeed. Yeah. We've got a lot of work to do. As you said earlier, we've got to
quite a whole lot, but it's
sad.
It's embarrassing, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you. Got a lot of work to do, folks. My goodness. We're going to be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Reach the houses, whip, wop, whip, wop, whip, wop. Reach the houses, whip, wop, whip, wop, whip, wop. Reach the houses, whip, wop, whip.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Got your first look at traffic, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. In your real-time traffic right now, not looking so bad out on the streets in New Providence. Again, a lot of schools are closed, and so we are seeing very different patterns at this hour. But if you are on Tawny-Cool and Starling Highway, as you approach the roundabout with Michael Butler Highway, you're going to be seeing some slow-moving traffic ahead of you. That's in the westbound lanes there. Blue Hill Road is busy for you north and south of Soldier Road, the junction. And that's for the northbound lanes. And we're seeing some slow-moving traffic on Prince Charles Drive at the major intersections, especially heading into Robinson Road. If you're heading westbound, near Soldier Road. Those are your hot spots for now. And some building traffic on Carmichael, westbound to Coral Harbor Road. We'll have another update for you in our 8 o'clock hour. Morning Blend Traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC And another check of your weather brought to you by Easy Car Sales. We've got an expansive ridge of high pressure over the area that continues to dominate weather across the islands as a mid to upper level disturbance near the southern Bahamas will enhance shower activity mainly for the southeastern islands. For today, for most areas, partly to mostly sunny, becoming fair tonight, only about a 10% chance of showers. But for the southeast Bahamas, look for a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming fair tonight, and a 20% chance of isolated showers and isolated thunderstorms. Temperatures across the country around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, a mix of sun and clouds across the country tomorrow, becoming fair at night. That's Friday and into Saturday and Sunday. By Monday, partly sunny during the day, becoming mostly fair at night. The tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation unexpected in the Atlantic during the next 7 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Easy Car Sales. Visit the new BYD showroom at the Mall at Marathon and take an electric test drive today.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
Some women know they boyfriend got one or two sweetheart, but she ain't freaking out because she got a white man. Some women know they husband got one or two sweetheart, but she ain't freaking out because she got a white man.
Okay, first thing 9 a.m. The white boyfriend got a checklist ready for you to come sign in. Then ask if you
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Thursday morning. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we're going to be talking with the University of the Bahamas about recruitment and enrollment. We're going to get into that with them. And later in business, we're expecting the Minister of National Security, Wayne Munroe, to be joining us this morning. So a lot to get to. Just want to wrap up our discussion about what's in the news today. We were before the news talking about that brawl at the C.R. Walker graduation ceremony yesterday. Just an unbelievable series of events there, and 2 women were arrested as a result of that. Getting your reaction to that. This texter here, this is a good point here. This person says here, with respect to the wonder if these young people are aware that when you apply for employment at these companies and agencies nowadays, the employer also tracks social media networks as reference for previous behaviors. This could have a very negative impact on them. Yeah, I'm sure. And people will remember the graduating class of 2025 of that school. Like, oh, were you a part of that? Like, boy, there's some scary stuff. All right, so a couple stories really want to get through very quickly. Court stories. Always interesting, the sentencing and the details that come out of these. But our Artesia Davis writing about this. Man jailed for 25 years. So a man has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for a murder he committed as a teenager. 29-year-old Andre Ferguson was just 17 years old when he gunned down Terrell Williams on July 6, 2013, here in New Providence. According to an eyewitness, Williams was outside of a home on Augusta Street when Ferguson shot him. Ferguson was unanimously convicted on September 13, 2024. His defense lawyer, Glendon Roll, suggested a sentence of 5 years. This is murder now, because Ferguson suffers from type 2 diabetes. As well as the 11-year delay in bringing the case to trial. Roll suggested that prison officials were unable to provide adequate care for Ferguson's condition, but by contrast, the prosecutor, Rashid Edgecombe, recommended a sentence in the range of 40 to 50 years. In his decision, Justice Gregory Hilton said that Ferguson was entitled to a degree of mercy having regard to his age at the time of the offense, the unreasonable delay in bringing the case to trial, and his medical condition. Boy. Hilton noted that Ferguson was not convicted of other crimes while on bail, nor did he breach any rules at the prison while awaiting sentencing. And the judge said this indicates that he is a good candidate for rehabilitation. The sentence will take effect from the date of conviction. Again, that was September 13th, 2024. Interesting stuff. Love to get your reaction to that. This other one, we've been telling you about this over the past few months. So a driver who killed 2 people when he crashed into their scooter while overtaking another vehicle was sentenced to 2 years in prison, minus the 9 months he spent on remand. Remember this case? Mekanko Bethel learned his fate for causing the deaths of DeAndre Woodside and Rashawn Roll when he appeared before Justice Gregory Hilton. Bethel, who was on crutches, was taken into custody to begin serving the remainder of his sentence. He was ordered to pay $10,000 each as compensation to the estates of the deceased by December 31st, 2027. However, the judge did not attach a penalty for non-payment. So in February, Bethel pleaded guilty to vehicular manslaughter in relation to the deaths of Woodside and his passenger Roll on that scooter. He was allowed to remain on bail pending sentencing. So he pleaded guilty. That's why the sentence was greatly reduced. But the details around this accident are still head-scratching. At around 1:50 a.m. on October 16th, 2023, Bethel was driving an unlicensed and uninsured car. Unlicensed and uninsured on East Street when he overtook a car and collided head-on with the scooter. There were 3 people on that scooter. How in God's name does that happen? I don't understand. A third passenger on the scooter was also injured. She didn't die, but she lost a limb. Bethel did not face any charges in relation to her. What's going on? What's happening in this place? Let's make it make sense. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free. 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, so let's get through these text messages very quickly. There's one here. This is not related to what we were talking about, but I think you heard this on the news. Let me get this straight. So we are moving the Cuban healthcare workers and the educators. I don't see the U.S. sending us any teachers or doctors. When have they ever? Why would they come here? If the only thing we lose are some diplomatic passports of visas, I say so be it. Okay, we need these healthcare workers and educators to supplement our declining numbers. Make it make sense, please. I guess you weren't listening to the show earlier in the week. The health minister said that they are going to offer the Cuban workers a new system. They will be paid directly And if they want to do that, that'll be up to them. If they don't want to do that, they'll have to leave. Now, the question is, will Cuba allow them to be paid directly? Right? Well, so that's going to be the issue. They don't have to leave, but if they don't want that type of arrangement, then that's the end of the story. So we will see. We will see what happens. But hey, all right, let's take a break, folks. When we come back, we're going to be talking with UB about recruitment, enrollment, all of that, and in light of what's going on in the U.S., lots and lots of changes as we go to break. This person's texting. Just witnessed a hit and run on Beatrice Saunders Highway. A black Honda ran into the back of a lady's car, reversed and sped off. I attempted to get the license plate number, but it was covered with heavy tint, so that the driver gets off scot-free. Well, hopefully there's some CCTV in the area. We'll ask the minister if he gets here about how that's working. Things like that you see every day on the streets in New Providence. What are we doing about it? We'll be back, folks. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
She laugh and she say yes. Her laugh is so I'm geeky. He say, let me wake you over time and I'll buy you what you need. She say, boy, you better stop. He say, stop playing, come see me. She say, man, you know these co-workers, they watch more things down on TV. He say, miss, I is your boss, but I say they gon' believe me. Now call your man and tell him you waking late. She say, yes, speedy. So
throughout history, from bartering in ancient markets to the invention of paper currency, convenience has been at the heart of the way we pay. As time marched on, so have we, from barter to cash and cash to digital. Whether you pay with an online bank transfer, digital wallet, or contactless card, with digital payments, options abound. The world never stops evolving, and neither should you. Choose freedom, choose flexibility, choose convenience. The future of pay is digital. Visit us online at livedigitalbahamas.com and on social media.
Don't be left in the dark this hurricane season. Total Services Bahamas, your authorized distributor for Rolco, is ready to install and service a top-quality generator that will power your entire home, keep your lights on, your refrigerator cooling, and your house nice and cozy. When the lights go out, you don't have to. Total Services is here to ensure your comfort and safety this hurricane season and beyond. Complete generator solutions from installation to convenient rentals. Total Services Bahamas, number 98 Thompson Boulevard. Call 323-0400 or 1, or visit the website at totalservicesbahamas.com.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Pop the top and collect. Check your cap at 700. 200,000 in cash and prizes with winners on different islands. Collect. Pop the top and collect. Check your cap at 700. You could win free bears, take a sip and collect merchandise. Matter say, I pop mine at Somarigala. I pop mine at Homecoming Loop. Win free bears at Abaco and just check your cap. When you go Grand Bahama. Collect. Pop the top and collect. Check your cap at 700. You could win free bears, take a sip and collect merchandise. Matter say,
drink responsibly, boy.
Get ready to catch the thrill and win with Shell. Fuel up with $20 or more and unlock your shot at unforgettable prizes.
We're talking regatta trips to Exuma and Harbor Island.
Free fuel, grocery vouchers, water park passes, and more. Just snap your receipt and WhatsApp it to us at 242-422-0271. The vibes are high, the prizes are hot, and the summer is yours to win with Shell. Only at participating Shell stations in Nassau, now through August 22nd. Terms and conditions apply.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
At Cleveland Clinic, care is everything. So when your primary purpose is to care for the world, you'd start with your community until you're accessible anywhere. You make complexities your specialties and put compassion before anything else. All to redefine what's possible. For everyone, everywhere. For every care in the world. Cleveland Clinic.
It's official. The BYD showroom is now open at the mall at Marathon, and it's like a portal into the future. Sleek rides, cutting-edge tech, all from the world's #1 electric car brand. Slide through for a free coffee at the Dream Bar and let the Easy Car Sales team show you why everyone's falling in love with electric. Rain or shine, it's cool, comfortable, and convenient. Open 10 to 6 daily through the food court entrance at the mall. Your electric journey starts now.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients, while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM.
And it's time for your final look at weather for the morning, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. We've got an expansive ridge of high pressure over the area. That's going to continue to dominate weather across the country for the next few days, as a mid to upper level disturbance near the southern Bahamas will bring some showers mainly to the southeastern islands over the next few days. In the meantime, everyone's being advised to remain hydrated and wear loose-fitting clothing. Take frequent breaks if you have to be outside. UV indices and heat indices are going to be in the very high to extreme range. So keep that in mind. Also, beachgoers should be alert if you're in the southeast Bahamas and along all Atlantic exposures. There is a moderate risk of rip currents for eastern shorelines. Your forecast for today, for most areas, partly to mostly sunny, becoming fair tonight, only about a 10% chance of showers. For the southeastern islands, though, a mix of sun and clouds today, becoming fair tonight, a 20% chance of isolated showers or thunderstorms. We're looking at temperatures around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like it's 102 Fahrenheit, 39 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 79 Fahrenheit, 26 Celsius. In your extended outlook, look for a mix of sun and clouds for tomorrow, Friday. That pattern will hold for Saturday and Sunday. By Monday, partly sunny during the day, becoming mostly fair at night. And that should hold for the next few days for the start of the new work week. We're still looking at only about a 10 to 20% chance of showers for this period. And so definitely below where we normally are for June at this in this country. By Wednesday, though, there could be a change. Rain chances up to 40% across most areas. Tropics are quiet. Tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 7 days. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Are your walls giving major L? Well, time to fix that at your nearest Sherwin-Williams paint store. They've got vibrant colors delivered with professional vibes. Done listening? Well, start glistening with Sherwin-Williams paints. And we've got your final look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. In real-time traffic, seeing some building traffic on Milo Butler Highway right now, northbound, just as you approach Harold Pond in the northbound lanes on the way to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Blue Hill Road also busy for you near Carmichael if you're heading northbound, north of Soldier Road, and East Street between Soldier and East-West Highway. Northbound, heavy traffic for you there. That is actually going to continue once you get north of that roundabout on the way to Robinson Road. Wolf Road seeing some slow-moving traffic east of East Street, mainly eastbound. And still pockets along Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, especially Beatrice Avenue and some slow-moving but manageable traffic along portions of Carmichael Road on the way to Coral Harbor Road. That's what we're seeing right now. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
I did it. Yes, I did it. I did it. Yes, I did it. I did it. Yes, I did it. Let's go. I don't need nobody. I did it on my own. Did it on my own. I walked through the fire. Barefoot shoes run away. What I would have been if I did listen what people say. I move in my pleasure. Won't fall under the pressure. Don't drop in no water, baby. Don't rough no feather, baby. I don't need nobody.
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strong with you on this Thursday morning, and we've all been paying attention to what's happening in the U.S. With changing policies, making things more difficult for foreign students to attend college and university there. So the University of the Bahamas is saying if you haven't been doing so, reconsider attending college, university here at home. Here to talk about recruitment and enrollment. We're very pleased to have with us Recruiting Officer 1, Charmaine Higgs-Ramming, and Recruiting Officer 2, Travis Minnis. Great to have you with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good
Good
morning.
to be here.
All right, so have you been hearing more people say, yeah, let me look at UB because I don't need all this stress, or are you noticing anything different? What do you see? Travis?
A lot of parents, even before that came, a lot of parents they try to ahead of time to try to make sure that they apply to the university first. Like a lot of the shy parents who look ahead of things, they're already saying, anyway, I know my students wants to go to school, but in the meantime, just in case anything happens, they already have an application at the University of Bahamas. So most of our parents and our student body, they pre-exam things. So when that came out, it's like, hey, well, if you don't get straight, at least see why I told you to apply to the University of the Bahamas. So that's usually what happens. So hopefully more adapt that principle in light of what's been happening.
So was it an increase, or would you say people just naturally just put their eggs in multiple baskets?
I'd say it was definitely an increase.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen a rise, and especially for this fall that's coming. Yeah, we've seen an increase, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Charmaine?
typically people tend to apply for more than one college or university, just in case they're accepted to only one. It'll give them more options.
Yeah.
So with that, University of the Bahamas, they would make us their option, but I was a former teacher, so I used to hear students talk about how they want to go off to school all the time, but they don't realize that you can actually enroll here, which is very cheaper. It's more affordable. It's a comfortable place because this is home. Okay, if anything goes wrong, you can go home. You can go. Your home is right here. So it is that is the case. They tend to do the two. More than one university or college, and but UB is one place that they would turn to if something goes wrong abroad. But that's not what we want. We want them to think of us first.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I know for some people it'll be, they'll be thinking that UB might not have the program I'm interested in. What do you say to somebody who realizes that or is thinking that? What should they be doing?
What we normally do is when we go to recruiting events, we would have students fill out data cards. When they fill out data cards, there's a place on that data card that speaks of their interests. So there are times students would write or fill in that they're interested in a program that we offer, as well as programs that we do not offer. But with those data cards, with that, we tend to work on offering the programs that so many people are trying to enroll in. So with programs that we offer, We have the University of the Bahamas website that specifically outline all the programs that we offer, which is so many, and which are so many, and students, they would be surprised what we offer. Engineering is something that University of the Bahamas offers, which is news to me because when I was enrolled, it wasn't there before.
Oh, yeah?
It was just things like education, nursing, basic things. But now we're offering so many things, so many business studies, culinary arts. I mean, we had culinary arts before, Hotel Training College, but now it's called the COM. It's a school in itself. It's greater, bigger. It's you can get a degree in culinary arts now. So it's tourism studies. It's very profound, the programs.
Yeah. Yes. And is it possible that you could, if you don't have the program, you could start at UB and eventually, maybe when things calm down, transfer after a couple of years?
That is definitely an option. You can do your general courses at UB, but we don't want you to just do your general courses. We want you to do your entire degree here because if the program is offered here, it only makes sense to continue it here. Yeah. Especially with it being so-called free.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. And that is a big deal there.
Yes. Yeah. Government grants and private scholarships. Yeah. So many.
All right. So is it too late for fall if you were accepted in the U.S. and now you're like thinking, I don't think I want to do this? Is it too late if you didn't apply for UB before? Can you still apply for fall?
Definitely. We have until it's been extended. So we have extended the deadline to the 30th of this month. So you have until the 30th. If the abroad is looking a little shaky right now for you, you can make sure you can apply online. It's a fully 100% online application now. And another point that we forgot to mention a lot of times that we do interviews like this is that once you're accepted, you're always accepted. So what happens is if you applied to the University of Bahamas in 2023, 22, and you already received an acceptance letter, what we see a lot of times is a lot of students, they have like 3 applications in the system, and if they've already been accepted. Once you have that acceptance letter, you are free to go. So only thing you will have to do is that you look for your registration time, your bracket for if you're a junior, if you're a sophomore, if you're a senior student, you could look for your registration time. Once you don't have any holds, you could just sign on to the system like nothing ever happened, and you could go look for your classes, those kind of things. So that's something that I'm looking for. So the end of the month, the 30th is the deadline for the fall semester. So you can take advantage of that 100% online. Once you go to the main university website, you'll see a little pen symbol that says apply now, and you can begin your application right now.
And yes, you can apply in the middle of the night. You can apply first thing in the morning. We want you to do it today, please. Don't wait until June 30th.
No,
because there are some documents that we would need you to submit, and that would take some time. So
tell us some more about that. What exactly would be needed so you can get that ball rolling?
Okay, you would need, once you apply to www.ub.edu.bs and fill out the online application, you would have to upload some supporting documents, such as a copy of a valid passport. You would need a copy of your BGCSE or SAT or ACT results slip. If you took any of those exams, you would also need your official high school transcript if you're a student, a high school graduate. You would also need a college transcript if you're applying, transferring, or you attended college here. And you would have to pay $50, a $50 application fee. All of this online. You pay with a Visa or a MasterCard. Sorry, a debit or a credit card, Visa or Master.
Yeah. So what if you've been out of school for a while and you decided you want to go back? Do you still have to provide the transcripts and examination results from years ago from high school, or is it a little bit different?
Been out of school, like high school, you've graduated and then you've worked for a few years and then you want to now enroll?
Yes.
Yes, you would need, to get in, first of all, there are several ways you can get into the university. You can either get in with 5 BGCSEs with C passes and above with math and English, or if you have a combined score of 1,000 on your SAT or a combined score of 21 on your ACT, or you can take a placement exam. So someone who has been out of school for a few years, we would suggest that or recommend that they take the University of the Bahamas placement exam. And once they do well on that, they can be accepted. And if they've uploaded all their supporting documents, yes, they can be accepted.
When do you do that? What are the dates? Or do you do that based on somebody's need?
When are the dates for you
is it for the placement exam? Is there a set time? Or?
Well, if they're interested in taking the placement exam, we would send an email to them to give them all of the information as to the dates. They can do it they can do it online, or they can do it face to face, the exam.
Okay.
And they can, choose a date, and that the exam for the 2 placement exams, it's $70, math and English. If they only have to take math or English, it's $40 for that placement exam. We also have students who took the BGCSE this year, and we're waiting for that. They're waiting for the results to get us a earlier possible accept. It's best we would recommend that some of them take the placement exam, because we're not sure that, if they're not sure they're going to pass the BGCSEs, they can take that placement exam, and they may pass it and get an early accept.
It sounds hard. Is it hard?
It's not hard. No, it's basic. It's basic.
Yeah?
Yes,
Okay.
It's basic.
All right. We've got some questions here, and you can send in your questions as well. Text us 422-4796. You can call us as well as we talk with Charmaine Higgs-Ramming and Travis Minnis from UB. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Call us toll free 242-300. This person says here, I visit UB daily because I have a child that attends the university. I must say kudos to UB. We have a very good university in the country.
Thank you.
One other thing I want to give kudos to is the cleanliness of the compound, of the campus. Yes. I often walk around when waiting on my child, and I must say it is amazingly clean. Kudos to UB. Okay.
Beautiful campus.
Good stuff. This person says, can we at least acknowledge that our kids don't value UB? Oh, boy. And things Bahamian, and anything Bahamian, because we as parents don't value these things. Is that right? We ingrain our children with that go away to school stance as the only saving grace. Providing UB offers your subject area, let's make it the first choice, not the last resort. Well,
I agree. I fully agree.
Yeah,
I fully agree. Like being a former alumni of the school too. I graduated in 2017 in the business administration with a focus on marketing. So what I've came to realize, and a lot of people past and present, they do say if you could pass at the University of Bahamas level, you could pass anywhere abroad, because the curriculum itself, like a lot of things that I've learned from the University of Bahamas, and the lecturers too that are there. Like some of our lecturers were so crazy about it, like how we talk about going off to school. Our lecturers are well-rounded. They've been all over the world.
Yes.
So when you come to a university class at the University of Bahamas, especially I'm speaking for the School of Business, you are getting an international experience. You're being taught by an international lecturer, literally. Like some of those things, like I told someone, like in one of our calculus exams that we had, I was like, some of these stuff I don't think it's an answer to. I mean, some of these things are so, like, it's really, you will, trust me, you will be ready to lead after you leave the University of the Bahamas. Like, you won't be not be able to take over a role after you've graduated from the University of Bahamas, because that's the type of preparation that happens in those classrooms.
Same thing. It was still COB when I was there, but definitely that prepared me for everything that came afterwards.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a point, please. When we do recruiting events, sometimes I hear students come up to our table, our booth, and ask, what is this about? I am like taken aback because I am so surprised at how many students do not know what University of the Bahamas is.
No way.
So
what do you mean by that?
They're asking me, what is this? Like when we go to college fairs,
Seriously?
or we go to work fairs, job fairs, they ask that question, and I'm like, this is University of the Bahamas. This is
college.
I don't even know
what
how
type
to
of schools are you
answer
talking
that.
about?
So I would tell them.
I mean, it's how many years now? 50?
That's why we're trying to we're going to every school in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We need
these are schools behind the gates and stuff? Or what type of schools are you talking about?
We need the principals, we need administrators to allow us into the schools to bring awareness about our country's university.
I'm very disturbed now.
And the campus is beautiful. It's large. I believe that students need to have this experience before going abroad. They shouldn't have their first college or university experience abroad. They should have it at home.
Yeah.
That is major.
It definitely can make a difference. This person here says, I did my associates in nursing, 98 through 93. I did my master's in school counseling with Kent through UB. UB first. I suggest all Bahamians go to UB first. It helped me with my career. As a matter of fact, my nursing degrees were the hardest degrees ever. And I have a PhD now.
We produce leaders. University of the Bahamas produce leaders. Yeah. When I first went there, I'm a trained teacher. When I first went there, I was so shy. But after all of those presentations, I became very comfortable speaking in public. Yeah. It really makes we produce leaders.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Big time.
So what else do people need to keep in mind if they don't want to do fall, but maybe spring? Should they apply now? What are some things they need to keep in mind?
Right now, the portal is only open for fall of 2025. Mm-hmm. Spring will be open very soon, so they can look out for that. But my question would be, why wait?
Mm-hmm.
Why wait? If it's because of money, you got that. Once you're a student, we have scholarships available.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they need a mental break after high school or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you can have a mental break, but that has a downside too. You might not want to go back. But while you're fresh and you're young, just do it. Get it out of the way, because that's some time you could have already been enrolled.
Yeah.
We have a Jumpstart program too for 11th graders. They can do some of their courses before they come into high school. So when they finish school, they can have less courses to complete, credits to complete. So that is also helpful. Mm-hmm. But yes, they do it now. Don't wait.
So I have to ask you this. So that was back in the day when I was there. COB classes would fill up. You couldn't get your classes. But if you're expecting more people to be interested in UB, to want to stay home, is that a danger that classes could be overcrowded, that there won't be enough classes? Is that a concern? Are you prepared for something like that?
As far as when I was in university, but I was in COB at the time, anytime we have an influx of students for a class, they open another class. So that's how that works. Yeah. And we're still doing that today.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll always have space for you. Trust me, the campus is huge.
Yeah.
So we'll always have space for our students.
All right. So one more time, give people the website and remind folks of that deadline that's fast approaching.
The University of the Bahamas' website is www.ub.edu.bs. On that website, you can fill out your application. You would be able to see financial aid. You would be able to see what programs we offer and what it entails, the credits, everything that you need. Any other things right on that site. Mm-hmm. And the deadline definitely is a Monday, June 30th, 2025. Apply today.
Yeah.
Don't wait until.
Any advice to anybody out there who is nervous, just feeling jittery, not sure what to do at all with all the things happening in the world, and now thinking about university? What would you say to them? What advice would you give?
I'd like to tell people when it comes to the university, depending on whatever program you have, if it's financial, gone are the days of hurting your head or trying to find the money. Like, the government has tailor-made the government tertiary grants. We have assistance from financial aid that'll pay a third for you. If all else fails, if you're not able to get a full ride, something will be there to provide for you. So coming at the University of Bahamas, so that's something to definitely take advantage of. Like I tell students and anyone, because they made the grant for anyone. It's not just if you're coming out of high school, you could be ready to come back, and that grant is waiting on you as well too. If you're a mature applicant, So I like to tell people, don't be afraid, don't be timid about the program that you want to do. The University of Bahamas will definitely be able to accommodate you. Be confident. and anything that you're willing to approach, because it'll definitely be worthwhile from the University of the Bahamas if you stick with it. Like for me, I work and I went to school.
Yeah.
So I know what it is to not even be free, like at all. Like when you become free, like you're looking around like, Lord, I don't know class, like what's going on? Like I just know about that multitask straight through. So like when I see students on the campus today who have the privilege of the full ride scholarship, and you don't even have to like work if you don't want to, because you're doing 5 or 6 classes. Like that's beautiful to me to see, like the government has a grant that you could just sign up for. Like in my era, I had to do an interview and cross my fingers and boy, I hope I get the scholarship, like stuff like that. Like these students today, like I always tell them when I go to the schools, listen, just pass the BGCSEs. That's all you need to do now. It's no more, but I hope I get the scholarship. No, the scholarship is automatic. You put your name, your email, what's the name of your parents, those kind of information, and it's an automatic scholarship. You'll get an email that says, hey, congratulations, the grant will be applied, XYZ. It's an automatic thing now.
Yeah, good stuff.
That's something to take advantage of.
So one more thing, we got only a couple minutes left, but if you don't have the program right now, you do enter, is it possible that for your junior or senior year that you could craft a program for somebody? Do you do things like that? Is that possible?
Sometimes that has happened. Like someone had enrolled in one program and they changed their major. And it's a very simple process to change your major. So you just see your advisor and it can fill out a program change form and we can make it happen.
Yeah.
But it is possible.
Yeah, okay. Sounds wonderful.
And there's no need to be nervous. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do, still apply, enroll in some classes, and trust me, it'll get clearer.
Excellent stuff.
Yeah.
Again, that deadline is June 30th. That is very close. But thank you for being here this morning. Really great talking with you, Charmaine
Thank you too.
Higgs Ramming and Travis Minnis with University of the Bahamas. We've got to spread the word. These kids need to know that this has been here longer than some of their parents.
Right.
How is it possible you don't know?
It's crazy.
Wow, it's a strange new world we're in. But thank you again for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a break for news, and then Morning Glen Business. We're talking with National Security Minister Wayne Munroe. Stick around. You don't want to miss it.
If you play with that puppy, lick your side your mouth. Now I won't say I didn't accept anybody else, but if I didn't ever accept only what never gonna know what I own. Can't trust anybody, they keep the clothes off the line. I'll help anybody, but first I got to get mine. I don't need nobody. I did it on my own. Did it on my own.
Would you like to know more about divorce, personal injury, wills, company formation, conveyances, and mortgages? Well, then sign up for Halsbury Chambers' 21st Annual Free Legal Clinic, Saturday, June 28, 2025, Village Road North. Call 393-4551 to reserve your spot today. Spaces are limited. Lawyers available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Consultations only. This is a community service event sponsored by Halsbury Chambers.
Sherwin-Williams Bahamas doesn't mess about when it comes to product range and product knowledge.
If it's a new product come in the store, we walk the store and study that product.
One thing with our boss, if a new product comes in, he takes the time and he's always keeping us up to date with product knowledge. And we just had 9 weeks of different products that we had to study, and we had exams at the end of each product.
Yeah.
The only way we can sell the product effective, we have to know that product. Yeah, that helps us to relate to our customers. It gives us better knowledge to know what product to introduce to them. You understand? So we can know what product to give them to use and what product not to give them to use. So product knowledge is really key in Sherwin-Williams.
They got the keys. And the key is the product knowledge that comes with our extensive product range at Sherwin-Williams Paints, Bahamas. Find color in every day.
Where will you be 1 year from now? Deeper in debt or on the road to a brighter future? If your vision is financial freedom, BOB can help with our 2020 Vision Debt Consolidation Loan. Come experience the new BOB, our fast, easy for our approvals and low loan rates. Consolidate multiple debts, reduce your total monthly payout, and start moving in the right direction. Apply today for your 2020 Vision Debt Consolidation Loan from BOB, your bank of solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Fly away with me through the Bahama Keys.
Tired of hustle and bustle of Nassau? Fly away to the Family Islands with our fly-free offer for Bahamian residents. Stay at any of our hotels for 2 nights and get a round-trip ticket for free. Visit BahamasResidence.com for details.
My Bahamaland, yes, my country, come fly away with me.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Pop the top with collect, check your cap at 700, 200,000 in cash and prizes, with winners on different islands. Collect! Pop the top with collect, check your cap at 700. You could win free bears, take a sip, and collect merchandise, matter say. I pop mine at Exo Marigana, I pop mine at Homecoming, look win free bears at Abaco and just check your cap, when you go Grand Bahama. Collect! Pop the top with collect, check your cap at 700. You could win free bears, take a sip, and collect merchandise, matter say. Drink responsibly, boy.
With RBC, your idea of loving every journey happens now. Free up cash with affordable auto financing from RBC. With competitive rates and no bank fees, it's the perfect time to make every journey something special. Apply now to pre-qualify in 60 seconds at rbc.com/autoloan to shop with confidence. Conditions apply. RBC, your idea of loving your journey happens here.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, June 19th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, and the business, the debate, the budget debate in the House of Assembly is winding down, and before it heads to the Senate, and we are very pleased to have with us in studio National Security Minister Wayne Munroe, who is the leader of government business. You were going to be here today after you were doing your presentation, or scheduled to do it yesterday, but you haven't done that as yet. Is that right?
No, Dwight. I do the scheduling, but some things happen. Time slippage. Sometimes a little bit of rowing happen, and the rowing may cause the time to slip. So we determined that I would go this morning.
Okay.
So anything that you get out of me about the budget, you would be breaking news.
Oh, we love it. We love it. We love it. That is great stuff. So it's always a pleasure to have you here with us, always making yourself available. We really appreciate that. All right. So after you will be the Prime Minister, is that right?
Yes, he will. He will wrap up, and then we will go into examine the different heads for the different ministries and agencies, and the opposition gets to ask questions about them.
And sometimes adjustments are made.
No.
No?
There's just explanations.
Okay.
So, for instance, St. Barnabas said, oh, he doesn't see National Neighborhood Watch as a line item in my budget. Well, it's a line item as a consultancy, which they'll learn when I go through all the consultancy contracts to show the Bahamian people, this really ain't just people you hire. These are things that are done. And so you go through that. Or one of the heads issues I saw was people said there is only X amount of dollars for the Independent Commission of Investigation, and that's not enough to actualize it. And then, of course, you would explain that that's not everything, that the cost of housing wouldn't be in that budget, the cost of staff wouldn't be in that budget, and that's what accounts for that amount of money in that budget head. So that's a line-by-line possible examination of the budget.
Okay.
And then we would move on to the committee stage of the bills, and there'll be some movements to amend some of the bills, because we're a government who consults even after we lay bills. You'd notice the AG's office did a website where you put them up. So everyone can go there and look, and if you say, hey, this is egregious, I don't like this, then you can send in feedback, and then we'll consider it, and we may or may not act on your suggestion depending on how it falls in line with the policy. But I know we have a number of movements, bearing in mind feedback from the public, from the bar associations, from other groups.
Right.
So even up to the time that it leaves the House of Assembly and goes to the Senate, if something else comes forward, we can amend it in the Senate. We've done that before. We don't believe we're perfect, and we act for the people. So if the people bring forward something, we'll consider it. We consider everything.
All right. So at this point, things that we hadn't heard before that people still have questions about, this might be the time they will get an understanding of why this is happening. I know, well, we reported that it hasn't been explained what's accounting for the increase with beaches and parks. Are you able to say that, or is that there?
Unfortunately, that's not one of my budget heads. If there's an increase in a allocation, it usually has to do with increased activity. So, for instance, if beaches and parks got an increase, Salem Park in Freetown needs to be not fixed. The old playground stuff needs to be moved. It needs to be graded. And so if provision is being made to have resources to do that, then that would explain it.
Okay.
When you're recovering, you may not do some things. So the example I give, if you come to my house, my driveway needs paving. Well, from 2021, I took a job that resulted in a massive pay cut for me. So right now I can't afford to pave my driveway. And so, because I have children in school and all of that, and so as I address things, then I may make money available. But now you see that we've introduced a new tax, the domestic minimum top-up tax, where there is a projection of, I think, $100 or $150 million. You have better performance in the economy, so you have better tax collection. We're targeting these private islands, which, if you look at it, I don't think the opposition really thinks carefully about what they say. When you talk about the modern cruise ship, Dwight, you sometimes have up to 5,000 persons in this floating hotel.
Yeah.
It comes to their island. They have pool, they have zip lines, they have a theme park, basically. So when you have to travel, and some of them come only to the islands here, when you have to travel, you say, do I go 3 days to Atlantis or Bahama, or do I go to Ocean Key, where you might get similar amenities? And you're finding people will do that. Now, what you find also, the opportunities for Bahamians on these keys that we have to take advantage of. But as that activity comes to be taxed, because it wasn't before, that increases the amount of money you have to do things, like improve the parks and do the other things that the government is now doing.
Right.
So hopefully, if beaches and parks budget went up, I will be on Mikhail Barnaby's door about total refurbishment of Salem Park. There's the G.K. Simonette Park on Shirley Street. The one on St. James Road has got a little touch-up, and then there's one on Chesapeake as well. So all of this
quite
needs
a few
to be
in your
dealt with.
area.
Yeah.
People were saying Goodman's Bay is definitely falling apart. So there's a lot of work to be done. Definitely.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm going to allow you to give us what you can, some sneak peek into what you're going to be talking about today before I ask you specifically about your ministry.
Well, I have to address my cousin, Michael Pintard. What he
Is
had
it literally
to say.
your cousin?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well,
as he says, he's not as close. His sister and brothers, he has a sister and brother who are my first cousins.
Wow.
But he is not. Ragged Island is a very small place, and most of us are related. And since he owns me, I guess I have to own him. And I had to pray over what I had to say, because our cousins always say, "Wayne, why are you doing our cousin so bad?"
Oh, dear.
So I prayed over it, but I have to address some of what he says. And so I'll be addressing this proposition he has about we're wait-and-see government. So I'll be comparing whether people have to wait and see with us or whether people have to wait and see with them. Because government, which the people will be up to elect in 2026, is really a choice between what you have. So there might be a better candidate, but if that person doesn't come forward, you have a choice between the 2, 3, or 4 who step forward. And so the Bahamian people have to consider our performance compared to what they could think of their performance. And it's almost schizophrenic what they're doing. They're trying to run away from Dr. Minnis's records when they say they are not looking back. But in the House, they were defending all that they did as the Minnis government. So if you're defending all that Minnis did when he was Prime Minister and you were in the cabinet, how is it that you kick the man to the curb so unceremoniously and say basically he's garbage, we're not going to look back, the people want him? So that's, to my mind, a little disordered, right?
Well, we've noticed a lot of your colleagues doing this, talking about the pandemic and what was happening during the lockdowns. But, I mean, to those who are like, why are we still on this? Let's move on and talk about the future. Why are we dwelling on that? Obviously, the people spoke. They don't want to go back there, with at least with Minnis. Why not tell us more about what you're going to do if you get another 5 years?
Yeah, we do that. We have been doing that for 4 years. In fact, yesterday, Michael said, look, this clearly is about them because they've been asking for re-election for 4 years. Why? Because when we increase minimum wage, when we reduce VAT, while we're doing what we're doing, we're telling you this is our plan, and looking at our plan to complete it so you don't have to stop, cancel, review, we need another term. So we've been doing that. But remember now, come 2026, the choice is going to be between the PLP, the FNM, and any other alphabet parties that are there. And the people are going to have to decide between the two. Now, Michael Pintard was in the Minnis administration. Kwesi Thompson was in the Minnis administration. They were there. And so they can't, as it were, disavow it. That they can't do. And you have to look at how somebody performs. So if you were a betting man and you saw a horse that lost all of the time and one that ran well, you'd put your money on the one that ran well. Well, the Bahamian people are going to have to look and see what did the performance of the last administration tell us about them. And mark you now, they had 2.5 years before Dorian. You know, Michael was a little mix-up when he said they bought the hotel after Dorian. They were actually negotiating to buy it in 2017 when they came to power and concluded it before Dorian, to my recollection. But they had a fair run. And then how did they perform? Because we came in and COVID wasn't quite over, and our approach was a little different, and we opened up the country, and then we did what we had to do. And the IMF has said what the Ministry of Finance, what the Bahamian government, what the Bahamian people have been able to do, because the Bahamian people are the one who drive the economy, you know. And Prime Minister Davis is sufficiently confident that he gives the people the credit. You know, the government can do anything. We thought this budget is about opportunity. You can lay out as much opportunity as you want, but if people don't step up and take it, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so the fact that the economy is rebounding is telling us that the opportunities that are being offered, people are stepping up and taking it, and they are driving the economy.
Yeah.
And so you just compare, and that's what it's going to be.
Right. Okay. So we're looking forward to it. Specifically with national security, anything we can expect you to announce today? Anything?
Well, what you will find, and what is very disheartening, and I think I'm going to have to be less than kind to my cousin on this. They keep talking about, we don't have a plan. Well, I went, Chicago Lang invited me to the Public Institute at UB. I set out the 5-pillar plan. We had our
This is about crime?
Yeah.
Crime fighting.
Prevention, policing, prevention, policing, trial, punishment, rehabilitation, set it all out. Then we invited them to a meeting. And then they lauded the plan they gave us. Only the plan they gave us seemed to just be a rewriting of what I had delivered at the public-private thing. We took it on board. They wanted to have another talking shop. We decided you don't need a talking shop. You need to now start to test things to see if they would work. They tabled something in the House, the same thing. We read everything that they give us. And so it is a form of plagiarism, which it could either be plagiarism or it could be there's nothing new under the sun, so it's not surprising that what you come up with is the same as what we come up with. And so I have to address that. What will be announced, which he tried to forestall, is a very unique opportunity that the heads of HONLIA, all heads of all national law enforcement, have started and is coordinated by my ministry. And that is the ability to move the security forces forward by being more intentional about financial literacy with our members. We find that a lot of the members of the security forces have massive debt for little petty things, and so it hampers them for home ownership and financial advancement, and God forbid it opens little temptation routes.
For corruption.
Right. And so we're looking at introducing financial literacy in our recruitment processes. And I think they've approached Garwin Bow and some others to take that on for us. We've also engaged them for what will be a housing initiative for our security forces. We're of the view, unlike the FNM, that you have to use the bargaining power of a critical mass of people. So I think we have like 800 members of the security forces who they've assessed who might be lined up for this. Now, somebody, because you have FNMs in these things, but I've told him about this, and he called it a housing cooperative. It's not really a housing cooperative. What it is to use your buying power to get better rates from banks, from cooperatives, and from the contractor. And the proposition is this, the FNM's proposal was they give Dwight a piece of property and you go talk to a contractor. And if that contractor is talking to Dwight one-on-one, he don't have to correct anything. If you have 800 people and you want more work within the 800 people and you mess up on Dwight, you better correct it or you ain't getting none of the rest of the work.
Right.
And so that sort of power from strength. And the strength is driven by your collective efforts. Much of what the trade unions do is what they're looking at. The police can't form trade unions. The Defense Force definitely can't. And we intend to leverage some of that. We also intend to have a look at using some of our inmate industries because we need to get them working ready for the outside world. The prison also has a block making capacity, and all of this we want to leverage to provide lower cost houses for security officers in tandem with what the Ministry of Housing is doing.
How soon before we can see that up and running?
They are finalizing that now. They've done a lot of the assessments. That's being coordinated by Undersecretary Gaynell Roll in my ministry, who we were fortunate to get because she came from Ministry of Finance, so she's finance-minded. And together with the representatives from all of the law enforcement agencies, that's police, defense, corrections, immigration, and customs. They're going to move that project forward.
Okay.
Also, you would have heard that we're going to get for the fire service all of the equipment that the fire chief has asked for. They talked about they only see $2 million in it. That's really being disingenuous because if you buy a $20,000 car, how much might you pay in the first year? Might not be $20,000, eh?
Okay.
So there's little simple things that everyone should know that they try to mislead the Bahamian people on. And I'll address shortly this proposition about you need an independent fire service, which in this budget process should be the most compelling reason why not. An independent fire service requires an independent bureaucracy. So they will need their HR officers, their finance officers. They can't be in police stations because they're not police officers now on that proposition. And so you have to acquire property to build these fire stations. The entire bureaucracy that now exists in the police force has to be replicated, and that comes.
Or you could do it a simplified version of it. No, it doesn't have to be as complicated.
No, you have to have, whenever you hire people in the public service, you have to have people to process their daily things, their sick leave, their this, their that, their the next. And you have to have a bureaucracy for it. And then you look at
that word is so disturbing. But okay.
No, but that's what it is. And then the issue is, why are you doing this? What are you seeking to accomplish? That you have specialized firefighters? Well, we have that. The firefighters, that's what they do. We have a squad in now, and the firefighters are always F squad. And that's what they're going to do for their careers. And the fire chief, he commands the fire service. When he comes in for equipment like this, the quotes didn't go to the Commissioner of Police. They went to Chief Superintendent Morris, Fire Chief, and then it came up. And so these projected benefits, you have to examine what you have now to see, is it really what you think it is? So no, we don't have patrol officers jumping on fire engines to fill in people. No, we don't do that. You're specialized firefighters.
So other than the bureaucracy, you think it could be detrimental if it were a more independent unit?
You would have to then work out how the investigative purposes of it integrated with the actual service. With the current thing, you have the investigators embedded in the fire service. I'm just trying to figure out what is the purpose of separating them. Specialized officers, we have that. A fire chief that directs the service, we have that. You're going to get more resources? No, you're going to get exactly as much resources as the Ministry of Finance allocates to you, whether you are here separately or as a fire service. You have to sit down at that table and tell them. When we sat down at the table, I think we told them, we need $16 million for this capital item.
Right.
And they consider that. And then we need this much money for this capital item, and they consider that. And this much money for this capital item, and they consider that. And then you look at the basic rules of what you want to do.
Yeah. Wow. All right, so I want to talk more about what you said, what the fire chief said he wanted. What were some of those things? What are some of the things that they need that they don't have right now? And what is the full complement of fire trucks? What are you really dealing with here?
Yeah, well, he needs a lot of trucks, so he's getting a lot of trucks. He has different composition of pumpers and other items for the family islands because he created his list family island specific. So he said, this is the nature of this island. This is what we need.
Okay. What about with the increase in the high rises we have here? That's what the ladder truck will cover.
Yep.
And will it be able to get to as high as some of these tall resort buildings that we have here? What do we know?
I'll have to look at the specs, but when he when he indicated what he wanted, it was with regard the heights of buildings in New Providence and in Grand Bahama. Those are the two islands, as far as I'm aware, they intend to be dedicated to.
Wow. Okay.
And so the bottom line is, I think I told you off air, I don't think that I suddenly became endowed with all this knowledge on the 21st when the Bahamian people said, Freetown to represent them. So we defer to the fire chief. Mm-hmm. We see what he says. We see the justification. And then we give him what he wants, unless somehow we think he is being gratuitous in what he's asking for. And he has not been gratuitous in anything that he's asking for.
And I need to get the fire chief on the show. But what about brush fires? We're seeing an increase, especially this especially dry season we're seeing. It should be the rainy season now, but we're not seeing much rain. We have equipment to handle that.
There's a task force that deals with that. That's a specific, other than this, that's the budget thing.
Yeah.
We have forestry officers who tell us that we need to have controlled burns because that's how you manage forests. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you have cataclysmic fires like they had in California.
Yeah.
And so there's a combination of things, but there's a multi-agency, multi-ministry task force coordinated by the Disaster Management Authority to address that particular issue. And the fire chief basically says if a fire doesn't necessarily threaten life or property, and it's an area that needs a burn anyway, they just make sure it doesn't spread to threaten life or family. Yeah. I respect them. They seem to know exactly what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The one fire I went on, how he spoke seemed to indicate he knew exactly why men can't open a door and go in there, why they're not going to go in there, what's going to happen, where they're going to position their equipment. They were looking for alternative water sources before the tank ran out. So but he showed up and he demonstrated to me anyway, to my satisfaction, that he seemed to know exactly what they're doing.
Wow. Okay. Well, again, we're going to have him on soon, and hopefully we'll talk to him about that. All right. So the last time you were here, Wayne Munroe, we talked about CCTV, and you seemed to indicate that there would be an expansion, that we'd be hearing about it soon. Where do things stand with that now, and how confident should the Bahamian people be here in New Providence, especially, that we do have coverage for most of the island in the case of some crime or chase or something? We're looking for people suspected of being involved in something. What are we really dealing with here?
You build out a system based on, and I just want to be careful in what I say, because somebody got offended that I described criminal as roaches, right? But it's just...
Was that a criminal who would...
But it's just the behavior that I talk about. Mm-hmm. Once they know something is exposed here, they will go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And that's the challenge in laying out exactly the capabilities of what we have. What I should say, which I think could be nondescript, is we have a advanced system with facial recognition, license plate reading.
We do have this?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But have you noticed the high recovery of stolen cars?
It could be higher, I feel. But anyway, okay, so you're saying it's improved?
What happens is this. You build a system, and you cannot tell people where you're still building the system. Mm-hmm. But clearly you do all the major traffic routes right away. So you track cars. Within a day or two, the police puts photos out because they know who they're looking for.
Right.
And a lot of that is based on the technology that we have. Mm-hmm. So.
And you're satisfied with it? You're confident with it?
We continue to expand it. Mm-hmm. And as things work, technology keeps getting less expensive. And so you can deploy it more broadly.
Yeah. But it does feel like this is how it feels, that there's chaos and madness on the streets in New Providence, that someone just messaged us this morning about a hit and run, the driver just reversed and drove off, that every day we're seeing people doing madness everywhere, and there aren't any consequences for it. Are you using the technology to get to those people who are wreaking havoc on the streets? Or is it only for very serious crimes?
I wouldn't say there are no consequences. Traffic courts are full of people who did foolishness on the streets and now are facing the consequences. If somebody runs into you and you suck your teeth and drive off for whatever reason, then there's no complaint for the police to say, you say this happened there, let's roll the cameras and see what the case is. There have been a number of cases where the police have rolled the camera and see that you lying about what you say happened, because here is what happens. And so it's not that there's no consequences. It's just there's a lot of craziness on the streets.
Yeah, and maybe the public is not aware that they can do something about it.
And that is, well, you should always make a complaint if something happens to you. Always. Always. You cannot complain about the police aren't doing anything if you don't make a complaint. And so we will extend that, and you will see more allocation for that. It will continue.
Yeah. Okay. All right. People are always asking about drones and whether we can utilize more drones to surveil folks, and especially with immigration on the seas. What are we looking? We know there was a purchase some time back. What are we dealing with when it comes to drones?
We do have drones. It was a sore topic. It took a while to sort out. We didn't accept all of the drones that the previous administration had in country because they didn't meet the specifications off the top of it. For instance, the Dean's Blue Hole matter, where they located the body with the length of cable that they were saying came with that underwater drone, it wouldn't have been able to go down that far. But we were able to prevail on SWIFT, who acted like a proper partner, to give us free of charge the full length, because they were saying we would have to pay. But we dealt with that. There are issues surrounding the over-horizon drone that the Defense Force has, in that it can only fly off airstrips, grass airstrips, which have to be specially built on islands. And vertical landing and takeoff might have been more appropriate, so the Defense Force is looking at those. There are some other drones that they're looking at, but as the technology evolves, we don't stand still. There are drones that the police use, so that some people, when they run to hide their drugs, don't understand that the police are right up there looking down at you and seeing what you're doing. I saw one instance where they indicated that they would have drones fly aerial patrol, which is leave, for instance, Carmichael Station, fly a pre-designated route to see what's happening, and come back to Carmichael Station. And so they have the technology. They are, in fact, using it. You see it in use in the fires. They deploy them to the fires, and the forest fires, the building fires, and particularly the forest fires, to make an assessment of how the fire is moving and what needs to be done. So we do have that technology. We are using it. I had floated something that hasn't been accepted yet that we're still looking at, and it's called tethered drones, which is the ones you put up 100 feet, leave them up 24 hours a day.
Oh, okay.
People say there are some privacy issues, the rest of that we are going backward and forward to determine whether we can legitimately and legally do that. And if it's resolved that we can do that, then it would be a matter of acquisition. There is some view that is overly intrusive, that we could put up a drone and watch Guardian News 24 hours a day around the clock to see who's coming and going, and people have some concerns about it, and you serve the public, and so you have to consider all of that before you act.
Would you be required to let the people know that you will be under this type of surveillance, or is that what you're trying to determine now?
All of that is it. There's generally no expectation of privacy in a public place, but that permits you to surveil people's yards and that, and so there are issues surrounding that, I would say.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. All right. Also, the last time you were here, you were saying you were talking about body cams, and you made an appeal for the public if they wanted to donate body cams. Has that situation improved? Have you been getting people saying they want to sponsor or do you have more now? What
Yeah,
can you tell us
no,
about
we
it?
continue to get allocations for the purchase of body cams. We're getting some for the prison, for the people who go into the cells, because the cameras in the prison don't extend into people's cells. And we have had some people who have donated body cameras. So that is a project that's ongoing. You have to manage the resources that finance will give you, and you have to spread it across all of the items that you need to acquire. The police are getting the newer body cams that they can view real time, and the teams are deployed and they can communicate through them. And so as the technology evolves, we continue to move with it.
Yeah, and with the police, who's wearing body cams now? What are the requirements in terms of that?
That's a matter, operational matter, that the commissioner of police and her commanders determine. I have seen that if you turn off a body camera, that's a cause for discipline. And I have seen people as high as the rank of inspector disciplined for turning off a body camera.
Yeah, as it should be, should be.
I suppose as time runs, everyone made a complaint about there's a new law enforcement agency coming, Barwin, Bahamas Wildlife Enforcement Network, and there was some complaint about they closed down the construction industry by closing down illegal mining pits. Well, that's the law, eh? You get them to enforce the law, so they're enforcing the law, and that's a new agency that, as the steering committee stage, is doing incredible things in terms of law enforcement. The Minister of the Environment spoke about it. They've recently also been charged with assisting agriculture with cruelty to animals, and they're going to be aggressively doing that. So the purpose of the government is to seek to enforce all laws,
right,
so that we can be a more law-abiding culture, because the first crime people commit usually isn't the most egregious.
Right.
And so that's our outlook, and that's what we're doing.
All right, so we'll get back to national security, we'll crime issues in a bit. We're running out of time. I wanted to talk about elections. That falls into you as well, right?
Yes.
We know that there's been some movement with the voters card. Give us an update on where things stand with that now, when we can expect a change in this.
We're working currently with Canadian Banknote. They're the people who do our passports. They also provided the machines that do the cards for immigration. They also print the $50 and $100 note. They do secure printing and secure features. There's a proposal to move to a polycarbonate card with biometrics embedded and the information embedded on it. That should be announced very shortly by the parliamentary commissioner. The steps that need to be taken to get that done effectively. We are seeking to do it as seamlessly as possible. So if Dwight Strachan has an e-passport, which would be information with Canadian Banknote, because they're the provider, and he agrees, Canadian Banknote can import over your fingerprints, your photograph, and the only thing you would have to do is say, where do I live now, and this, because we want to move to a system where in a country you call it, the government only gets to ask you once for the same information.
Oh, my goodness.
So if you go to the road traffic department and you have a passport, they should have all the information.
Everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To make it simpler for the citizen. If I've already given you this, why are you asking for it from me again? Go and talk to the passport office.
Absolutely.
So these systems need to get to that point, and eventually that's what we're working on down the road, which is why you need to re-elect us in 2026.
Oh boy! So down the road, that means we might not have that before the general election.
No. The card is we're seeking to get that out now.
Okay.
And you should see some movement.
Oh, you mean as early, synchronized
as early as next month. To start to get the information necessary to do that. The point I was making is anyone who has an e-passport and agrees, it should be a seamless process for you after you give your residence information and that. And we're seeking to do that more on not the house behind the dilly tree round the corner from the Gannett tree, right, but more sensible and stated with geographic coordinates.
Yeah.
So that we're seeking to have up and ready for the next general election.
Okay.
And so the public could wait to see that information, and do please comply quickly, just in case there's a snap election.
Oh dear. All right, so
that's just me being mischievous.
Just in case.
To tell you,
right.
Go out and register when you see the thing coming out about doing a survey or something, to get your information, to get your consent to do it. If you want a secure ID rather than the flimsy card, it's in your interest to participate so that we can get over this argument from looking like, I don't know what it looks like. I can't even find my voter's card.
Exactly. It's probably disintegrated. So this would be like a credit card sized?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. And you say as early as next month, possibly.
You would see the request for the information to permit us to stage to be able to start to print and issue them.
Yeah. Okay. That is good. That is good stuff. All right. So what else can we expect from you today as we get ready? Because you need to get to the house very soon.
Yeah. You will hear about the expansion in the Defense Force. And again, you know, there's this thing where, yes, we know there are FNMs in the Defense Force. Yes, we know there are people who are affiliated to every party everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a juvenile trick to say, oh, Coral Harbor basis, very bad, and you need to change it when you know. If you look in the budget things, we're saying we're upgrading Coral Harbor because we're not satisfied with it. We're saying we're upgrading Inagua because we're not satisfied with it. Mm-hmm. We're saying we're upgrading HMB Gunpoint on my home island because the people living in containers, and that's not right.
Wow.
And so we're going to build a proper base on Gunpoint, Ragged Island.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an interesting case for procurement, eh? You have somebody down there with heavy equipment on the island with a man camp already built. Should you really be putting that out for bid for somebody to spend $200,000 to mobilize to the island and about a couple $1 million to build a man camp?
No. Wow. All right. We've got a few questions from our listeners.
Yep.
Here, somebody's asking, can you say if police reserves will get an increase in pay in their working hours in the new budget? Is that allocated?
No, their rates are set. The police reserves, it's always a vexing thing. They tried to bring it up. Police reserves aren't paid salaries. So the public service has a strange thing where if you pay the salary, you paid the salary regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And if Dwight doesn't come to work, so we shouldn't have paid him for a week, you still get the full salary, and then we have to recover the money from you. The police reserves work the other way. When the reservist shows up, a regular officer has to sign them in. A log, that log has to go to the reserve headquarters, at the reserve office at headquarters. It has to be put on a chart for payment of it. That has to be transmitted. And again, with the bureaucracy that drives things, there's a cutoff time for you to be paid in a month. And if it's not submitted by that time, then you're paid the following month.
Yeah.
And that's the issue with them. But as far as I'm aware, the rates for the reserves aren't changing, and we don't have any legislation, regulation to change the maximum hours that they work. It's not supposed to be a full-time job, although we do use it as a full-time job. It's really not supposed to be.
Yeah, wow. This texter is asking about retired Defense Force officers. When will they receive their back pay?
It's not a matter of back pay. Some of them are entitled to adjustments in their pensions. Because, again, the bureaucracy of the public service had worked out for over 2 decades or so. Their pensions, according to the public service rules and not the Defense Act. We took action to correct it because I told them, I sue the government and I don't want nobody suing me because you all will say Munroe should know better. And so we've got the cabinet to agree to do that. And a lot of them have been processed already. Some of them, if you're still receiving a pension, the first step is to get you getting the correct pension month to month.
Yeah.
And then you have to calculate backward. It has to do with whether they had an allowance, because that's what changes it. public servants' allowance aren't included in their pension calculations. For the defense force, they are. If you only had a uniform allowance, that's already worked into your pension.
Okay. Wow. Before we let you go, so the incident over the weekend, which we lost a police reserve, two things about it. It's unusual. I don't know what your position is on this. We've not heard the name of the other victim in this, and police were saying.
You mean the criminal?
Well, the criminal.
The criminal
sure.
who was
the other
killed.
person who was deceased. But police are saying that it could jeopardize the investigation. Explain that from your perspective. Why would that be?
Let me say this. The thing that was very strange, I actually I sometimes do my church deposits at that same depository at that same time in the morning. So this concept that people have that somehow we're insulated from what happens around us doesn't really anticipate and apprehend what happens. There must be something that the police feel that if they announce this name, somebody may speak, who may speak, and then people may go underground. I don't know what is the nature of their investigation. I know that my conversations with them are that we have this anti-gang legislation and we need to use it. And to use it, you don't always only focus on the people who were on the scene. You focus on the people who are enabling the people on the scene, the people who are benefiting from the crime.
Yeah.
And so that event is said to have had at least three people. So that's a ripe one for anti-gang prosecution. And so I don't know. I don't become involved in operating. I trust their judgment. In the House, you saw me got upset with them when they talked about 38 murders unsolved from last year. Our police have the highest clear-up rate for crime in this hemisphere, bar none, including the U.S. And so I've interacted with them for over 30 years on the other side, and that is where I learned my respect for them, their ability, and what they do. Because as a lawyer, you try to crack them. As a lawyer, your client tells you this thing, he tells you that happens, and you have to try and put his case. But consistently, we find that they do their job well. They catch people most times. Most times they have evidence that persuades juries once you get the thing in court, which is a different issue to get to trial, which we're working on too. But they have a high clear-up rate. There must be a operational reason that they're not disclosing that, because they will at an appropriate time.
Well,
but he is not a victim of murder. That is very clear. He is not a victim of murder.
Correct. Yes. I guess we'll talk to the AG about sentencing. That's a different story. But for the folks in Nassau, Nassauvians who are, especially after that incident, feeling very unsafe, what your final words? What would you say to them?
Sometimes I find it hard to square this thing that people don't feel safe to move about. When we just had a big thing in the police under the new liquor license provision saying that they don't believe business clubs should be open until 4 o'clock, but people want to stay out till 4 o'clock. Now and again, I drive, and you see people out all over the time. You just have to be conscious of your surroundings, aware, and be practical and sensible. The police do put out public service announcements with advisory and do follow them. The police say if you feel you're being followed and you feel unsafe, drive to a police station. So there are little practical things that you can do. Crime is there. It's lower across all categories of violent crime, but it is still too high.
Yeah.
It is still too high. So yes, they're getting it down, but as far as I'm concerned, once you have one murder, that's one family affected. Disregard the perpetrator's family now, because they're affected too. But one is too much. When people talk about how do you decide how many people it's okay to be murdered? That's just where we have come, that you're talking about an acceptable amount of people to be murdered. No, yes, you should be upset about every single one. But more importantly, you should do something about it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's basically where we are with this.
Yeah. William Munroe, thank you so much. Got to get you to the house, giving us a great update on what's happening. Appreciate that, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Yeah.
All right. Take care. We are out of time, folks, so we'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Pick up today's NASA Guardian for the Guardian Business section, and all the latest in business news. Guardian Morning Blend Business brought to you in part by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations. Everybody have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green. Next.
You work hard, you do your best, but sometimes a little extra support can make all the difference. At Fidelity, we offer personal loans to help with whatever financial challenges life brings. We offer quick, hassle-free, stress-free loans ready whenever you need it. Inquire and make that move today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
You try to rest, roll with the best. For all your printing needs, there ain't no one better, no. For posters and banners, magazines and flyers, for window decals, greeting cards and newsletters. No job too big and there's no job too small. You name it, we can print it. Just give us a call. Let Print Masters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Wake up and treat yourself to the breakfast you deserve with Wendy's new French toast sticks platter. 4 pieces of golden, crispy French toast sticks served with warm syrup, fresh cracked eggs, your choice of protein, and orange juice. It's sweet, savory, and everything your morning's been missing. Whether you dip, dunk, or just go all in, you'll never want to go back to your old breakfast routine. Better breakfast always starts at Wendy's.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326-EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.